Welcome back to another North Carolina Tar Heels football recruiting podcast here on TarHeelIllustrated.com. And if you are watching us on our rapidly growing YouTube channel, that is called Tar Heel Illustrated. I'm THI publisher Andrew Jones, and joining me is our director of football recruiting and jack of all trades, Miss Deana King. And Deana, the Tar Heels, little period without a commitment for a while. Seems like a long time. Really hasn't been that very long. We kind of knew that once you got in the middle of June or July, rather, things would start picking back up again. And they have with Rico Walker, four-star defensive end outside linebacker from Hickory, North Carolina, Hickory High School in Hickory. He's 6'4", 230 pounds. The number 20 player nationally is position. Number 7 overall prospect in North Carolina. UNC is recruiting him as an outside linebacker. And Jack, before we get your take on Rico popping for the Tar Heels, very quick reminder, everybody, you could be an insider too for just $8.33 a month. It's less than the cost of a movie ticket, and it gives you a whole month worth of inside content, premium content at Tar Heel Illustrated. You would know where Deana is with a lot of these prospects. She offers all kinds of inside information, lots of tidbits. David Sisk with recruiting, totally on top of what was going on with Gigi. You could have followed it all along. The inside intel that he has and the connections that he has are unbelievable. They're unsurpassed. And of course, lots of other stuff that you cannot get with just our free content. We don't do everything on the podcast here, guys. So much of it is on the board. So much of it is premium content. It's just $8.33 a month. We have not raised our price since I took over the site 8 years ago. No plans on raising it anytime soon. So Deana, Rico Walker is someone that you first started writing about during the pandemic when it was at its peak in 2020. There were some open camps. You and VTO held a bunch of camps, and Rico was at a couple of them. You got to know him then. And I remember even as young as he was, you said he's going to be a big time prospect because he could do a lot of different things. He's a terrific athlete. He could play a lot of different positions, but Carolina's looking at him as an outside linebacker jack. So what are your thoughts about Carolina landing Rico Walker?
First thing, he's an in-state four-star kid, and so the fans are going to love that because they love the star rankings and everything. And plus, he's from an area, in Hickory in the Western foothills that North Carolina hasn't had a lot of success there. So it's been a predominantly a Tennessee, maybe Clemson area for recruiting. So to get Rico out of Hickory was really good. He will join his good friend Chris Culliver, who plays at nearby Maiden High School. So they're Catawba County buddies. So ironically, I remember the picture that we have of both of those meeting Coach Brown and Miss Sally at Showtime camp when Culliver first got offered down there at UNC. So I think it's a huge pickup. Like you said, he is a great athlete. First camp I saw him was VTO camp in Charlotte, Matthews area. He came to the camp as a wide receiver, and I remember him telling me, Miss King, I want to play wide receiver, but everybody thinks I can play on defense, but I want to show them I can play wide receiver. And so, I mean, he did really well there. He got a top 5 performance there, one of the top performers. But, you know, he is so, like I said, athletic and versatile, play anywhere. I know Hickory used him at tight end. And, you know, I mean, Coach Brown and the staff, they like him. They could put him anywhere, you know, get him down there and then see how he excels. But I do think that, you know, they really want him at that jack linebacker, outside linebacker, so he can learn under Coach Thigpen and everything. So it's a huge pickup, and I think he made a lot of Tar Heel fans happy today.
Well, like I said, 6'4", 230 pounds, someone who can play wide receiver, run routes at tight end, do all kinds of things in the field. I think that you just sort of summed it up. He's a football player. He's an athlete, and they're going to stick him in that spot. So that's the vision of what they want to see. Different than the hybrid under Jay Bateman's defense. I think they're looking at somebody that's more sideline to sideline, somebody that's more versatile, and you've got to be able to cover. You've got to be able to cover. They had issues with that with the hybrid spot before. When you watch Rico and you watched him run routes in person and you watched him do highly athletic, highly skilled things, does he look like somebody that translates to covering a back out of the backfield at the college level?
Yeah, he's got a, when he gets in a college strength and conditioning program, it's even going to make him even better and work on his quickness. You can't teach athleticism, so he's got that. So you're right. They want kids that can, Mack's prior stint at North Carolina, they had some really great linebackers that could go from one side of the field and make a tackle on the other side. So he's a dude that can do that.
He chose Carolina over a Final Five that included Florida, Auburn, Maryland, and
Tennessee.
And Tennessee, yes, in Tennessee. Well, Tennessee, they always recruit kids from that area. Some of the other schools that offered Clemson, Georgia, Michigan, Miami, Penn State, and a ton more. A lot of times you have an early vibe on a recruitment, especially whether it trends Carolina or not. You didn't have as much a vibe on Rico. There were times where you said, you think Carolina's in pretty good shape. And then there were times where, I don't know if they're in real good shape. But recently, over the last couple of months, a lot of things sort of started to fall into place with how you viewed where he would eventually go. Can you kind of take us through that?
Well, I always look at where kids go, not necessarily what they say. That's the old saying, watch what they do, not what they say. And the kid comes to a college a lot, something is drawing the kid there. And Rico has been to UNC a lot of times. And, he took his last official visit that big weekend. They had a lot of their guys there that have committed here recently. That stretch where they got like 8 guys in 8 days or 9 guys in 9 days or whatever. But he was one of those guys that was there. So got to bond with some of those guys. And, it's a national recruitment because his dad played at Auburn, and there were several SEC teams, and the lure of the SEC. Now I'm getting in this conference talk that who knows, North Carolina may be in the SEC one day, or the Big Ten, or still be in the ACC. That's for another time and place. But to get him from some of those programs where like Tennessee and in Auburn where his dad played, and his dad having connections with several of the coaches, and one of them was Coach Cross, and I think Coach Cross was a key figure in this recruitment too, because of the relationship with Rico's dad. So big pickup. I know they're really excited to land Rico.
Incredibly shameless plug about to happen here. But since you brought up the conference talk, also on the message boards, I've dropped a ton of intel bombs in there about Carolina and about the ACC and a couple of different scenarios that are being mashed as we speak with respect to the ACC's future. Final thoughts on Rico Walker. Let me just throw into this. I think this is a really big pickup because this is one that in which the tea leaves didn't always, like I kind of alluded to a few minutes ago, from my vantage point, he's a kid that didn't talk a lot. He didn't gush a lot. He didn't tip his hand like some other kids do. And that's forced you to rely a lot on your instincts and what you were just talking about. For me, I wasn't sold on it until recently. And we started having a few more conversations, and we had to sit down and put together some content and everything like that. I think that makes us a really big pickup because it's easy to get the kid who just wants to be there, loves the bling, loves the brand, home state, wants to be near folks. But I think Rico's seriously considered a lot of other options. So Carolina won this recruitment. This was a battle that Carolina eventually won. It had to do more than just be Carolina.
Yeah, I think, he can look at Coach Brown, and, he's done a lot and, felt comfortable, with that staff, and a lot of the assistant coaches on that staff. He's got great relationships with all of them and with some of the players there. So I think, and being an in-state kid, North Carolina is going to really, take care of their in-state kids, because you want to get more in-state kids. You don't,
yeah.
So, but yeah, obviously huge being in the western part of the state, the foothills and everything. So huge pickup, and he's a great athlete. So they're gonna put him on the field somewhere.
Yep. Rico Walker, 4-star defensive end, outside linebacker, Jack. He thinks wide receiver, sometimes tight end in high school. Let's just call him a football player from Hickory High School in Hickory, North Carolina. He is the latest member of the class of 2023 to commit to Mack Brown and Gene Chiswick and Tommy Thigpen and all those guys, North Carolina. The class is growing. It's adding guys with lots of stars, Deana. So the ranking that you produce from this, that you mash out, is going to be a little bit more impressive than it was heading into today. She's Deana King. I'm Andrew Jones. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you share it with your friends. Tell them about THI and all the fascinating stuff that we do here on this channel, and our site, TarHeelIllustrated.com. Remember, for just $8.33, you can be a Tar Heel insider too. Thanks for stopping by.